Behind every successful business is a story. It may be one of courage, creativity, and taking control of your future. This is the Stay-at-Home Bookkeeper Podcast, where we do real talk and we share real stories. We share struggles. We share the successes of people who have built freedom-based businesses. So if you're ready to design a business that fits your life or scale your existing business, and you want to hear real talk from those that are already doing it, you are in the right place. So Emily and I are super excited to share an amazing topic today. Emily, why don't you share with us what we're doing?
Yes, so today we are talking about making the shift from an employee to CEO. And really, when we're talking about a shift, we're talking about the mindset change that you need to make that role change from being an employee to that CEO as you're building your business. Excited to talk about this today.
I am as well. All right, well, let's just dive in, Em.
Okay, so I think, here at the Stay at Home Bookkeeper, we're all about teaching people how to build a bookkeeping business working from home. But something that you may not think about when you're thinking about maybe leaving that 9 to 5 is that transition that happens whenever you start as an employee. I think most working individuals who aren't entrepreneurs, they have some type of boss, they're handed down tasks, they're given specific instructions. But in order to be a business owner, your mindset completely has to change. And Deanna, I'd love for you to share, you have a lot of different businesses. Did you ever experience maybe a shift early on when you started your businesses, realizing, I need a different kind of mindset here when I'm owning and running a business versus someone telling me what to do?
Yeah, it's very different, right? And I think it's because, I mean, it that shift in your head changes everything. You have to go from I'm this employee now to I'm a CEO. And you got to change that mindset to now CEO mindset, right? Because when you're like in the employee mindset, here's the things that you're thinking of. What do I need to do today? What's my task? Who's going to give me those tasks? Like, oh my gosh, when's payday? Is payday in 2 weeks? In 1 week? What if I make a mistake? Is he or she gonna be mad at me? Like those are like all the things that are like racing around in your head. And you literally have this mindset every single day of like, am I gonna I know this is that when you're in a large corporation, this always stuck to me. I remember my boss told me, he's like, everyone is replaceable. Every
Mm,
person's replaceable. And that just hit home. Like you could be replaced any day. Like, are you worried that you're gonna lose your job that day? Right? Like that's the employee mindset. You
mhm,
gotta shift it over now and be more, put that CEO hat on, put that CEO mindset, right? And so now it's like instead of thinking, what do I need to do today? I'm gonna be thinking like, hey, what's the best use of my time today? And what's the best use of my team? Like maybe you have a team. What's the best use of that today? Right. So, and
mhm,
then instead of saying, who's going to give me those tasks? Like, what's my boss going to give me today? Instead, it's like, no, who can I recruit and delegate this to? So think
mhm.
differently. Think like a CEO. Instead of thinking like, when's my payday? Am I going to get paid next week? No, how am I growing revenue and profit? How am I making more money for the business today instead of thinking about where my next paycheck is coming, right? And then
Mhm.
instead of like fear, feeling like you've got fear of what if I make a mistake? Am I going to get fired? It's now the mindset of your CEO and you being the owner is, you know what? What lesson can I learn from this? Like, and I think it's just taking those things and shifting and saying, I'm not an employee anymore now. I am the CEO of my own business. And so I'm
Mhm.
going to think, act differently, and build the business the way I want it to be. I'm building my business instead of building somebody else's business.
Exactly. And I think what a lot of people who haven't owned a business yet don't realize, and what I like to explain it as, in a business, you have operators and you have visionaries as well. So when you're starting a business, well, when you're an employee, you tend to be an operator, right? You're given tasks, you're assigned projects, you have due dates, there's someone giving you something to do. What you don't realize is as a business owner, you have to start acting as that visionary, start deciding what are my goals for my business? How am I going to get there? Because you have the wonderful benefit of owning your business and not having a boss, but you also have the wonderful burden of no one being your boss and telling you what to do next.
Exactly.
You got to take the good with the bad, but that visionary, you have to make some intentional time. to spend time thinking about what are my business goals and what am I going to do each day to move my business forward, not just check things off of a list for my clients, things to get done. And I think as I've talked to people who have maybe started their own business and even if you're just a solopreneur, you're just starting your bookkeeping business, I like to recommend when you think about your business, growing your business, you pretend like you are two different employees, two people. You have your operator hat, then you have your
Yep.
visionary hat. So you know one day if you get a team member, somebody on your team, you can say, okay, it's time for me to hire an operator, someone to wear that hat for me, but I know the distinct difference and there's a time and place for both. Do you have any thoughts about that, Deanna?
Of having a distinct difference or what?
Having a difference in the difference in moving from just an operator who does those tasks versus, oh, realizing I need to have some dedicated visionary planning, goal setting time as a business owner.
Yeah, I think truly elevating yourself. Um you can never grow and scale your business if you are in the business every
Hmm.
single day. And I think now, mind you, I want you to hear what I'm saying, hear from my heart. Because when you start your business, yes, you are in it.
You got
Yes,
to do it all.
you got to do it all. And yes, you're going to wear, 100 hats. So hear my heart on that. Like, I'm not discounting that because I've done that. Emily's done, we've all done that. So I don't want to make anyone feel bad if you're wearing 100 hats right now, because we still do at times, right?
Mhm. But you got
But
to identify those hats so
right,
you know how to get out of it. Go ahead.
right. But the thing is that you can never really grow and scale if you don't put the visionary hat on first. Like, that's got to be
Mhm.
the key hat that you're wearing, and you got to be above the business. And when you start looking at things from above the business instead of in the business, you see things differently. You react differently. You plan differently. You look at the money and how do you identify where the money's going to go differently. When you're in the business, it's just your head down and you're trying so hard to do the numbers and do all the bookkeeping and do all these things that you're not thinking like the entrepreneur that you need to be, right? And you got to
Mhm.
break through that and become the visionary. And once you do that and you start saying, okay, I'm going to take this one piece of my business off and outsource it or give this to an employee to handle, that releases that space for you now to become more visionary. And the more you release, the more you do, the more you can start thinking like the CEO that you need to be and the
Mhm.
visionary owner instead of just being in the day to day. So again, as you all get started, trust me, you are going to be in it, but your goal is to grow and scale so that you are above the business.
So we're talking about how to break out of the employee mindset. Deanna, in your life experience, did you ever have a time where there was a habit that you had that came from employee life that you needed to break to unlock your potential and unlock your skill set being a CEO?
And I don't know if it's really like it was I think it was a personal habit of, like, again, when I said something earlier about making a mistake, that was a thing for me. I was always fearful of like
Mm,
disappointing my employer. Like, I was so afraid of getting fired and or making him unhappy that
mhm,
then when I went into my own and I realized it's just a lesson. I'm going to learn from
mhm,
this. It's okay. It's okay to make a mistake. It's fine, right? That I'm going to learn from this and move forward, and this will never happen again. Or this is something I can learn with my team, and we can make changes so that that never
mhm,
happens again. And so I had to really just teach myself that mistakes are okay, right?
mhm,
Mistakes are fine. And because I think we fear them so badly
mhm,
in the employee role, but as an owner role, no, of course you don't want to naturally make mistakes, but when you do, you grow from them, right? And
mhm,
there's no fear of failure on that piece. There's the opportunity for growth, and that's the
mhm,
difference. I had to shift from I'm not afraid of making mistakes. I'm just afraid of not learning from my mistakes.
mhm. And I almost think that you can't be afraid of the mistakes. You almost have to not look for the mistakes, but you got to be willing to try, right? You got to be willing to
Right.
take some action and try new things in your business. And like you said, don't treat it as a mistake that's going to set you back. Treat it as trial and error. I mean, hopefully you have a mentor or people in your life that can help you avoid some big mistakes that may hurt your business, but you have to be willing to try. You have to be willing to take action and do new things in your business to keep moving forward. Um, Now, I'd love to know next, do you think CEOs think about their time a little bit differently versus when you're an employee?
Oh, 100%.
Let's
100%
talk
they do.
about that.
Yes, because here's the thing. Let's be real. Like, I'm going to use a real life example. I've told y'all so many times that my family, my grandchildren are my world, right? They are my why. When we talk about what is your why, right? And so, understanding that I can control my time now, right?
Mhm,
My time, my business is the time that I have is built around what's important to me.
mhm,
And so if all of a sudden, like when you have a 9 to 5, you physically have a 9 to 5, right? You have to show up, you have to
mhm,
be there, you have to clock in, clock out, whatever that may be, and you have to be present from 9 to 5. The nice thing
mhm.
about owning your own business, this is a great example. This morning I slept in, y'all. I
Oh
slept
my goodness.
I
You heard
did.
it here first.
I
I'm
did. I
shocked.
slept in. Even my husband, when I started getting started, he's like, "Man," I'm like, "I did. I slept in. It was great.
Hmm.
I loved it." Right. The other day when my granddaughter needed something, I stopped what I was doing, put
Hmm.
my work on hold. I went and spent some time with my granddaughter, went to dinner, took her to get her hair done because she wanted her hair done in the middle of the day.
I love
Because I
that.
can. And then you know what?
Hmm.
I finished my project that night when I got home. It wasn't a big deal. Because guess what?
Hmm.
I can control my time, right? The time
Exactly.
for me, it is as long as I get my projects and stuff done, that's what matters.
Hmm.
It is I can choose when I work. If I want to work at night or early in the morning, great. And if I want to go
Hmm.
spend my time in the middle of the day with my grandkids, great. Like when we had the ice storm on Monday and our grandkid didn't have daycare, guess what? It was a Mimi and Asher day, and we went and we hung out together. It was great,
Hmm.
right? I
Hmm.
couldn't do that if I had a 9 to 5. I would get fired if I had to call in all the time, go and I wanted to go go and
Hmm.
go have play dates with my grandkids, right? And that's important. And so I find that now my mindset as a CEO is it's my time. I decide when
Hmm.
I want to work. I don't have to clock in, clock out.
Exactly. And I think too, number one, you have to be intentional with that time, right? Because time is money, but I think what you pay attention to is money as well. So you know when I'm on, I need to be on for the things that's going to move the business forward, things that are going to bring in income, sales and marketing, things like that. But you're also intentional about having operators who work in the business. So there are people who can move your business forward. And we have a wide range of people who listen here, right? Maybe you're just, like we said, a solopreneur. Maybe you're thinking about bringing someone on. That could look like hiring a VA that's a little bit more inexpensive than hiring someone here in the US. But starting to get in that mindset of identifying what are tasks and responsibilities that someone could come into my business and help me take over so I can have a little bit more of that time freedom and the working time I do have be more intentional on sales, marketing, things that's going to grow the business. That's another a part of this mindset shift that you need to have as you're building a business that sometimes people struggle with at first when they're coming from that employee mindset. Now, I'm curious, going off of that, Deanna, do you see anything specifically that people get stuck on when they're either leaving their 9 to 5, they're building a business that they just get stuck somewhere before they finally break free into that CEO mindset?
I think, I think there's a fear of failure. It doesn't
Mm,
matter like what you're gonna do. There's a fear of like, can I do this? Can I go get clients?
mm,
Can I do the marketing? Like, and again, y'all are gonna hear me talk about lifeting when we talk about marketing. Like, yes, you can do this, right? Like, but that fear of failure, that fear of failing to launch is a real fear. And I think
mm,
that's what stops a lot of people is like, I just can't do that. I have a 9 to 5 and I have a consistent check that comes in
mm,
every 2 weeks and I can't let that go. And you have to ask yourself, is that where you're going to be in 12 months? Is that where you're going to be in 24 months? In 5 years? Where are you going to be? Are you
mm,
still going to be there waiting on that person to write you that check? Or
mm,
are you going to create your own check? and that check is going to
Mhm.
be 10 times that, whatever it is that you want that to be. So I
You got
think
to bet on yourself.
right. And I think it's just letting go of that fear and just saying,
Mhm.
I'm moving forward and I believe in myself enough to know that I can do this and I'm just going for it. And I wish, I mean, and I know everyone hears these stories and they're like, yeah, yeah, you wish you knew what you knew, 5 years ago. I really genuinely wish I knew today what I know now, because I would do things so much differently. I would have launched my business so much sooner and
Mhm.
not gave a, a tail end about what people thought. I'm not joking. I was being careful what I
Mhm.
say, but I would not care what people
Mhm.
thought. I would just have done it because I believe in myself enough to know that I'm gonna make it happen. Where there's a will,
Mhm.
there's a way, right?
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna fail. I'm gonna fall. I'm gonna fall. And for sure, there's gonna be falls along the way, but I'm gonna fall forward every single time,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna fall with people that will hold me up. That's why the community is so important,
Mhm.
right? So I think just launching, just going
Mhm.
after it regardless and going, you know what? This could be scary, but man, it's gonna be fun. Like when you go
Mhm.
to Six Flags and you're afraid of a roller coaster, there's that little tingling in your stomach. You're like, oh, this is gonna be scary. And then you get off of it, you're like, yeah, this is great. That
Mhm.
that adrenaline. It's the same exact thing with a business. There's that little bit of fear, but man, there's that adrenaline of like, man, I did this. I own my own business. I own this company. I control my time. I can control my finances based on what I want to do and how I work. I control that and nobody controls me anymore. Nobody.
Mhm.
That's powerful.
That's really powerful. And you talked about a couple things I want to talk further about. When we talk about fear, I think we see people make breakthroughs when they realize they can be scared about something, they can be nervous, and they can still do the thing. They can still take action. They can say, I'm going to show up to that networking meeting. I've never talked to anybody about my business in my life, but I'm going to do it. And when people make those intentional decisions and say, I'm scared, so what? I'm still going to do it, that's when they start to break through. And I think we hear people often talk about, well, I just want to feel ready. I want to feel motivated. I want to feel confident. And that is not just going to happen with like, it would be great if there was like a fairy magic wand of like, boop, you're confident, you're ready to start your business.
I like
And
it.
wouldn't that be just amazing? But then everybody in the world will be business owners, right? It's when you decide, I'm nervous, but I'm still going to do it forward. And you do that so many times in a row. You build that muscle memory. You build the ability to be nervous about something and then go after it anyways. And that's when you can really break through, I think.
I agree.
Um,
I
I,
agree.
I, I love it. So, I
Get
something else I want
comfortable.
to,
I was gonna say, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like
yes,
that needs to
that's
be
the game.
write that on a sticky and put that on your mirror. Get comfortable being uncomfortable because when you're uncomfortable, you grow. And you
Mm-hmm.
want to grow and you want to be your new version of yourself. So, and you can only do that when you're uncomfortable, when you're growing.
Mm-hmm. I love it. So in your journey of embracing this a CEO mindset, did you ever have a specific moment in time where you ended up, you talked a lot about people pleasing, I'll call it, and not wanting to disappoint people. Do you have a specific moment in time that you remember you just decided to stop seeking permission and started taking action towards your goals and kind of left that all behind?
Yeah, I do. I'll be very careful what I say because but yes, I do. Um, there was something I wanted to do when I wanted to launch this company, and I don't know why, but I was afraid to do it. And I was afraid to do it in my voice, meaning
Mhm.
the way I wanted to do it because it
Mhm.
wasn't perceived the way that other people might think, oh, you got to do it this way. And I
Mhm.
remember talking to a mentor of mine, and I remember standing outside, and I can remember exactly where I was. I was leaning on this wall, and I just, how something's embedded in your head, and I just
Mhm.
remember, I remember the air, I remember where I was, I remember the conversation, and he said, Deanna, do it and do it in your voice and
Mhm.
make it yours. He's like, stop trying to think that you have to be like everyone else. So if you want to build this business the way you want to do it in your voice. and
Mhm.
don't try to mimic what everybody else is doing. You do it for
Mhm.
you. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, you're so right. And the minute I started thinking about it being in my voice with the way I wanted to run my company, I was like, I got this. Like,
Mhm.
I got this. I can do this. And it just changed. I just needed somebody else to tell me it's okay to do this and do it in my voice and to just go for it. Go for it,
Mhm.
Deanna. Just do it. What are you waiting for? Why aren't you
Mhm.
doing this? You talk about it, just go do
Mhm.
it. And I was like, you're right. I'm gonna go do it, right? And I just
Mhm.
that was so monumental for me for somebody else. Maybe it was just the confirmation somebody else believed enough in me that I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, yeah, I'm gonna go do this. And that to this day, I still, like I said, it's imprinted in me. I remember that conversation. I remember the feeling. And when I got off that phone call, I was like, that's it, I'm doing it. And I didn't look back from that point.
I love that. Well, and we as mentors, we would love to offer that to
Yeah.
anybody who is thinking about building their bookkeeping business because sometimes you need people in your corner to just say, shake you by the shoulders and say, just do it, just go for it. Because in life, people have opinions about you. They have opinions about how you should run your business, what you should do. You will have people say, "Oh, well, that's silly. You shouldn't run a business. That's not safe." But at the end of the day, if they're not paying your bills, if they're not living a lifestyle that you want, and if they are not doing something productive to help you move forward in the direction you want to go in life, I say pay them no mind because they can have opinions which are really just reflective on how they feel about where they're at in their life and what they're scared of, but they're not living your life at the end of the day.
No. And
Sometimes you just got
here's
to
the
do
way
it.
and the way I thought of it was, look, I'm trying to leave a legacy for my children and my
Mhm.
grandchildren. I'm trying to leave them. I've always told people, I'm not trying to leave my children money. I'm
Mhm.
trying to leave my children a business.
Mhm.
That's the difference. When I can say I'm giving my children businesses and I'm giving them things that will continue to grow after I'm gone, that's my legacy that I'm leaving them. And so I want to make really good choices and build something that I'm proud of that I can leave them. And so when you think of it along those terms of like, I'm building this foundational legacy for your family with the financial freedom that you want and deserve and you should have, then it all makes sense. Just do it, right? And I think that's what's so cool about the academy and all of us. Like we really care about each other and we all want that for one another. We all truly want to help each other succeed so that we're giving that financial freedom to them and we're creating that legacy for whoever they want to leave it to.
Mhm.
And so that's the fun for me. That is my why of why I do it is just to create a business that I can leave to them one day, and I'm excited that they can continue on it after I'm not here any longer.
I love it. That's beautiful. And I think keeping your why at the center of everything you do in your business is the most important. I know some people have mood boards, they have pictures on their desks, maybe a statement that they read every day, but keeping that at the center will always get you through everything you need whenever you are building your business. So I'd love to end here as we're coming up on time. For anybody in our audience who is maybe trying to build a business, but they feel like they're stuck in tasks, they're stuck in employee mindset. Deanna, do you have any final thoughts, advice on one or two small things that they can do to break free from that as they are growing their business?
Yeah, so this is it, right? If you're an employee, you're waiting around for instructions. You're waiting around for your paycheck. You're waiting around for your boss to tell you what the next big project is, right? Like you're waiting for that. If you're the CEO and owner, you're building that. You're
Mhm.
creating that. You're building systems. You're creating the business. You're building the wealth. You're building the legacy. And so I want to encourage you to change that hat. If you're still in that employee hat, what we just talked about, go put your CEO hat on. Like,
Mhm.
go make a change that's good for you. And it could be a small change, but every change is still a change, right? And so make those changes so that you're looking at things differently and you've got a new hat. And it's a hat that you're really excited and you're proud to wear because guess what? It's your hat. You're not wearing somebody else's hat with somebody else's logo on.
Mhm.
It's your hat with your logo.
I love it. I love it. Well, I say let's end there today. We hope that you all enjoyed this episode. Make sure that you comment, you subscribe, and you let us know what you're enjoying about this podcast, maybe other topics you'd like to hear us talk about. And as always, we would love to have you join us inside the Academy, join our team, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Yep. And you know what, guys? Just remember, you've got the skills, you've got the drive, because that's why listen to podcasts, is why you watch webinars. That's why you there is something in you that's saying, I want more, right? So now take that desire and turn that into financial freedom. So go take action this week. We will see you on our next episode of the Stay at Home Bookkeeper podcast. Talk to you soon. Have a great week.